Alright, let's get straight into it. Y'all see the title. The Legend of Korra is severely underrated and doesn't deserve the hate it gets. I even think it's a pretty good show, especially with all the bullshit the people working on the show had to deal with from working with Nickelodeon. Now, Korra for the most part gets the same complaints, so in today's video, we're gonna go over the complaints and see which ones I agree with and which ones are stupid. The first flaw with Korra that I wanted to mention was the fact that she lost way too many fights. Now, I actually agree with this statement. It's genuinely embarrassing at times watching her get her ass beat. Now, her losing to Amon and getting her bending taken away was pretty fucking crazy, but it fits within the story, so it doesn't really affect me. And Amon is probably the strongest waterbender that we've ever seen, but when they had her lose to this guy, bro, I just fell to my knees, bro. I think we can all agree that Unalaq is the worst villain in Avatar, like by far. Dude, this dude's motives are so weak and boring. He just yaps about the spirit world, and by episode 1, bro, like his first appearance, I was already sick of him. So the fact that Korra lost her connection to Aang and all her past avatars had me in shambles. Which, by the way, is another one of the more common complaints within the show, but it's also a byproduct of Korra losing way too much. I do agree with most people when I say that Korra losing her connection to her past lives was a terrible idea, especially in such a badly written season overall. It's such an ass decision that I think in the next Avatar show, the new Avatar will restore it. And to be honest, in season 3, yeah, she was getting her ass beat, but bro, look who she's facing. She is facing Hall of Fame demons who love fighting. Even that nigga Aang would have gotten packed up fighting them, but as embarrassing as Korra losing to her uncle was, nothing, and I mean literally nothing, compares to when Korra got fucked up by Kuvira. Now, don't get me wrong, Kuvira is nice. She's definitely one of the best metal benders we have ever seen, so I'm not gonna discredit her ability. But nigga, calling out the Avatar in front of your army and telling them they don't have shit to worry about is insane. The amount of embarrassment I had watching this scene was nuts. She was literally fucking Korra up and the army was just chilling watching this shit. Codename Super made a video on the whole entire fight, so y'all can go check out that video for the whole breakdown. I understand that our main character has to go through trouble in order to grow, if not they become stale and boring. People like when a character has to overcome troubles because when they overcome the troubles, it makes the victory that much more interesting. But in Korra, she loses way too often with not too many battles. She's a much more advanced fighter than Aang was during the last Airbender. Yet during her time as the Avatar, she never wins in a sense. Think about it, bro. In the first season, she never truly beat Amon. That nigga took her powers away and got exposed for being a bender. Just for his own brother to kill him in the boat. So villains are up 0-1. Next season, Korra loses the connection to her past lives to the lamest nigga ever to touch the ground. Why did she have to lose to this nigga, bro? Losing a key component of being the Avatar to the weakest villain in the franchise is nasty work. Now, in the next season, she did do most of the work to capture Zahir, but she ain't delivered the final blow. But I'd hold the fuck out of her if I include this as a dub. So Korra finally gets her first dub in the 3rd season, but with the amount of PTSD and lingering effects that this fight had on her, it's hard to even count this as a win for real. Poison had her tweaking out for a minute, but thankfully Toph was there to clutch up and save the day. So her record is pretty much 1-3, which is fucking insane as the Avatar. Another one of the more common complaints that I've heard about Korra is how fast the world advanced. Now, I'm not here to tell you that it makes sense and all that other shit. All I'm here to say is I fuck with this change heavy. You know how lame it would have been if the world hadn't changed that much? I think adding in technology like radios and cars puts a twist on the world that we know. It also adds to a way of a fight like how metal benders swing throughout Republic City like they're Spider-Man or something, or how we get a dope car chase while benders throw shit at each other. I just find it so hard to believe that people have such a problem with the world of Korra having technology and shit. Like, so what if niggas want to drive through the city in a Beamer and your lame ass gotta fly out on this nigga? You know how mad I would have been if the world of Avatar didn't advance that much? That would have made the show much less interesting, cause who is trying to watch the same thing? This take never made sense to me. I genuinely hope that in the next Avatar show, it's futuristic as fuck. I hope the creators got that show to be like Cowboy Bebop, where it has a futuristic vibe and people are just riding through with spaceships. Or maybe they make it look like Cyberpunk and it's Avatar in the future. Man, the niggas writing the next one, holla at me, bro. I'm trying to get in the studio with you guys. But I'm getting ahead of myself here, so let's move on to the next complaint. Now, this one gets niggas genuinely heated People get so mad at this complaint, and it's right next to Korra losing her connection to her past lives. The fact that Aang wasn't the best dad, and I'm not gonna hold you, I love this. Now, before y'all get mad, walk with me, bro, and let me put you on as to why I think this was a great decision and one that makes sense in the story. Bumi and Kaya hold a ton of resentment towards their dad because of the way that Aang favored Tenzin. Aang is the last person of his culture, and if Aang dies, the Air Nation would have died as well. So when Tenzin was born, Aang was not only happy that he had another kid, but he was also happy because Tenzin is an airbender, the first one born in over a century. Aang has a deep love and care for his people, and he sees Tenzin as a way of saving his people. Because of that, he can't be the best father to his other children because they are not airbenders. It isn't their fault that they weren't born as airbenders, but sadly Aang had to choose ultimately saving his people over his own children. It makes sense why Aang would do that, but it also makes sense that Kaya and Bumi feel some type of way about it, especially when everyone thinks their dad was just a perfect guy who could do no wrong. It adds layers to Aang and makes him seem like a real person with real flaws. Just because Aang wasn't there for his kids still doesn't take away from all the great things that he did. I think it just adds to the lore of Avatar, and it's a great layer of writing that I wish more people would appreciate. Now, I'm not saying that Korra is the greatest show of all time, but people are way too harsh on things that don't even matter. If you want to talk about the flaws of the show, talk about how there's not a concise put together story from seasons 1 to 4, which I get was Nickelodeon's doing, but still. Or talk about how Mako and Asami are badly written characters who get forgotten throughout the show and don't do much, or how badly paced the show is, especially when it comes to conflicts. These are all criticisms that I have about the show, not dumb ass shit like, oh, Aang was a bad dad. All I'm saying is Korra is one of the more underrated cartoons that don't get the love it deserves. And now that I've said my piece, I can end this video with a hot take. I think season 1 of Korra is better than season 1 of Avatar. I know, kill me, but fuck it. I'll see y'all next time in another video. Peace.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.